I wanted to start asking you. Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I love Brendan Fraser.
Mm-hmm.
It's an actor that I grew up with,
Mm-hmm.
and it's also an actor that because of his story and in Hollywood, it really moves me.
Mm-hmm.
So why did you decide that he was the perfect guy for this movie?
Sure. You know, when you look at it, there's so many great actors. I'm not gonna lie. There's a lot of great actors, but a couple of things. I saw him in The Whale, and after that, I
Yeah,
got to see him talk and doing Q&A. And he was just like he just had this depth of like emotion. He was like he's very right?
yeah,
He feels and you see it, you know. But there's nothing fake I felt when he was talking, and
yeah,
just his eyes says everything, you know.
yeah,
I think that's something that I was looking for in Philip's character, that somebody who just who knows the pain, right? Who
yeah,
knows what is it to be lonely, because as you understand, like, you know, he talks about it a little bit, how he was treated in Hollywood, to at one point in his life he took a step away from work because he wanted to focus on raising kids, right? His
yeah,
children. And um and then I think because he's perhaps his oldest son has he's artistic, and he really spent time with him and really bring him to the world that his son doesn't know. He's very open to trying things. He's very open to any opportunities that bring his to him, because that's what he gives to his son, you know. So I just knew that uh, basically from the talking to him, that was like my first initiative. Is like, oh wow, he's definitely my guy, and let's see where
yeah,
that goes. And he I felt he was already interested in you know, I think he like the script maybe around a little bit, and he maybe was already interested in the story. I couldn't remember quite a bit, but I
ah,
felt he was, you know, I felt like in my gut he was the right person.
yeah.
And
I think that,
yeah, I don't always listen to my gut, right? Like I think
yeah, I
my
know,
heart speaks louder than anything. I just have to go with it, because I just life is too short, you know? And I felt like
yeah,
when I listen to other people, even though I don't agree, end up not being the right decision, or end up wasting time, or so at this point in my life, I just like, oh, I think Brandon is right. And then Brandon was right. So that's how yeah. Yeah. And then I love
I,
Brandon. Like he did movies that I was just like, oh my God, he's like perfect, you know? Yeah.
yeah, and I think that that's what you said, like from his eyes, you can see everything. And
Mhm.
also for this type of character, I think that it had to be someone that really connects in a way of also like not even with words, with expressions or I mean that's the way also to get to the people and to
Mhm.
the persons that go to the cinema and enjoy the movies.
Mhm.
Well, that's so nice what you said that you just trust your gut and that you only live once. I really feel the same way. And I read an article about you that you always felt like you needed to be like this director. And can you tell me something about that process? How
Mhm.
did you get there? And I mean, you must be so proud to achieve something like this.
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. Um I mean, I was, you know, I did more like I come from arts and photography,
Yeah,
dance, music. That's kind of how I was raised, how I brought myself into, kind of immersed myself into the art form of like a just multi comprehensive art, right? And I
yeah,
feel everything I've done in my life, it has led me to come to this place of a filmmaker, you know, the
yeah,
director. Um, I I think for me, my understanding of you know, I just totally broke just blank my your question. What was your question again? I want to
so,
understand
like how was your your process on to
the process.
knowing what you wanted to do?
Okay, my process always comes from a story, and then once I hear the story, that I felt like there's something that I could definitely could work. Again, I always listen to my instinct. It was like, oh, that sounds right. Okay, let's move on, right? I go really quick. And when I just kind of linger, I was like, is that okay? Do I like it? And I just wait until if I feel that way, I I just linger a little bit and then I just usually I take a beat before I jump in. But the story
Yeah.
like this, I heard about it and I was like, what is rental family? I'm Japanese. I don't even know about this. And when I was diving in and when we started doing a research about it, and there's a couple articles that I was, out in the public. And then there's a story that I read about this gentleman who was on his deathbed. And
Ah.
he met he there's a part that he wanted to meet. He's been trying to meet his daughter who
Hmm.
hasn't he hasn't been successful.
Hmm.
But before he passed away, he wanted to apologize to her for things that he'd done. And
Wow.
obviously he can't connect to her anymore. So he hired somebody to say, can you please pretend to be my daughter? Walk into the room as if, and they all
Oh
kind of
my God.
provided this service for him, right? They created this scenario so that he can easily express what he's feeling. And after that happened, he felt obviously, the women who really took it in as if he was a daughter right here at the hospital and sat beside him and he quietly listened to as he apologized, right? So in that moment, like, she accepted and he was able to let go all the anxiety, everything he had, and she forgave
Oh my
him.
God.
And before
Yeah.
and then he passed away, right? And then I felt like a story like that, it really resonates with me, and that the condition of what we want to fix in life, we all have regrets in our lives,
Yeah.
and
Yes. Yes.
how can we fix it? I mean, that's one way to kind of feel good. I mean, are we
Yeah.
fixing a reality? Perhaps no, but in a situation like this, I think that he really was looking for someone to talk about this
Yeah.
problem that he had, and he was able to go. It's almost like this woman was becoming a therapist, in a way. And
Yeah. Yeah.
family business people who comes in and work, they also kind of becomes in a way the therapist, right? And
Yeah.
without license, but it's still serving the same purpose. So I really wanted to write a story about, like, kind of focus on that human condition, loneliness, right?
Yeah.
And the forgiveness and how that how does it look like. And then the Brendan's character came from kind of like my experience. I don't know if you read about it, but I was an exchange student when I
Yeah.
first came to America. And
Yeah.
I
To
was
Utah.
yeah,
I
to
saw.
Utah. So and I just wanted to, I had met such incredible people in that at that time. They were so supportive, and I to this day they're my best friends. And
Mm.
I wanted to show that the story that even though we look very different, inside and out, like, but
Mm.
we're only human. And I wanted to find a story that it was like, kind of creative human,
Yeah. Related to.
right? Empathy and, resilience, all that, like, just that reminds us all of us are like, regardless what,
Yeah.
we're here to help
I
each
think.
other. And
I
that
think that
helped.
is a.
Go ahead, go ahead.
No, I think that is a good. It's a big movie with a lot of themes that you can relate to.
Mm-hmm.
And there's something about loneliness. I love watching movies that talk about self-discovery because that happens to a lot of us, that we feel lost or we don't know right now where we have to go, and nobody tells us where to go because
Mm-hmm.
anyone nobody has the answer.
Right.
And we have to find that ourselves. So that's why I wanted to ask you, why did you explore this subject about finding yourself?
Mm-hmm. For me, because perhaps, um, I mean, if I talk about me and my beliefs, it goes, we need more than 3 hours to talk about it.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah. But for me, I'm very much, ever since I was a kid, I always felt there's a force and energy that exists around us.
Yeah.
And um, so I think there's a couple questions you asked about the spirituality,
Yeah.
and this is also,
Yeah.
or this movie was a big part of it.
No,
Um,
yeah.
to talk about like connection, like when um when the story oh fuck, I just totally blamed. I'm so sorry.
Don't worry, no, no, you were talking
I had
about.
another interview earlier, so I'm like trying to make sure that I'm not repeating myself. Um, um, but yeah, the when for me to tell a story like this is just everything that happened in my life, good or bad. Some terrible things happened to me. I don't even talk about it. I think the reason why
Mm,
I'm more like when you look at the video, I'm just like talking. And because I take that as life experience, right? We all live
yeah, of course.
and things that happens in your life, and then I learned greatly, and so I wanted to basically make a story that it teaches us that if we continue to work towards ourselves and just don't um, really focus on who we are and just like again listen to our instinct is another thing that we talk about is I feel like there's always an answer, even though there's a mistakes that we learn along the way. I'm
Yeah.
sorry I'm maybe not again not answering your question 100%.
No, no, but I
Um,
love it. I mean, it goes to that way. I mean, I really felt everything by watching it, and it made me think of a lot of things. So I really like when I watch a movie and talks about these themes that maybe we don't have it present, or we don't think about them, but we feel them.
mhm,
And like I said before, like it doesn't give you an answer, but the way we try in the process to find ourselves gives you the answer.
right,
So I mean,
right.
another theme about this movie was God or
Mhm,
spirituality. I mean,
mhm,
like it really moved me in that way because it's present, but it isn't present. Like it
mhm,
gives you any type of interpretation
right,
of what God means to you, or the
right,
way, like there's a quote that says like in the movie that God is in the mountains, God is in you, God is in the sky, is in the water. I mean, like it, you can feel everything. It talks more about more than what a figure means.
mhm,
So I wanted to ask you, like, did you felt something while making this movie?
mhm. Hold on for a second. Yeah, go ahead. I felt you mean like I felt the
Something else,
something oh yeah all the time.
like a presence, all the time. Wow.
I'm always like I always feel like I think when I became a film, I mean, this is really have nothing to do with Enter Family. Like when I became a filmmaker, and this is the reason why I love doing what I love, and I felt like this is the end, like this, I finally found my career in the way that
Yeah,
I became one, right? I know that when I was making short film, this is over 10 years ago, I could feel that the energy in the sky. I could
yeah,
feel the rain. I could feel the deities or gods of weather is on my side.
yeah,
Things
yeah.
like that.
Yes, yes, I feel it. I
Yeah,
understand completely. Yeah.
right. And so for me, I mean, all the experience I had, and then I think this is the reason why for the longest time I kept saying, and ever since I made our first short film, it's called Suyako, it was my thesis film. I knew the power of cinema. Like
Yeah.
I'm making this like movie that it's 100% Japanese short film, but lesbian couple, and then I go to Italy, and I can have
Yeah.
communication, and that person I was able to move that, like this person was so inspired to decided to come out of the closet, right? And
Yeah.
he's been gay for 55 years, and he's always
Wow.
in a closet, right? Whoa, right.
Yeah.
Because he believes in Catholic,
Yeah. Yeah.
Catholic, and he can't tell his mom. So when the encounter with people who watched my movie, it always stays with me. And that experience, I was able to give that person to be who they are. And along the way, I have experienced things like that, right? The weather being on your side. I thought it was everything
Yeah.
was the end of the day and end of the world. but it wasn't. It worked out perfectly. And then it's, I would see every time when I point the camera this way, and then I say, I don't want, please don't rain over this way. I just need a sky, blue sky. And then I just see the clouds parts away. And then the rain
Yeah.
is outside of where the camera is pointing, it's all gray and pouring rain. Like all this crazy, I would say crazy.
Yeah, yeah, I totally understand.
Right. And it's
I
not
mean,
even,
I think that I know, sorry. No, no, continue.
no, it's okay. So having that experience to me now coming to this place and in the process of the last, 15, 10, whatever years, sometimes it was hard and sometimes I don't understand why this is happening or not happening, why this movie is getting canceled, all this stuff that I have in my mind. But
Yeah.
I have to believe that it is happening for a reason. It is happening for a reason because there is a process that I have to trust. And that goes to trusting
I
yourself,
understand.
right,
I
and
totally understand.
right, and in Japan, I know that I'm sure in Argentina, there's God, was a Christianity,
Yeah,
right? Jesus
yeah,
is the God, and
yeah,
in Japan, it's not, God is not just a one singular thing. It's about the energy. It's about the whole thing, the universe, right?
yeah,
So it's but then we have a place like a Shintoism where is there to remind you to give you a place to be quiet in your mind so that you can really
yeah,
actually listen to yourself. And that I find it's really beautiful in our culture. And the place that you think you're basically praying and you think that's where the God is in the regular mind, it's actually
yeah,
not, it's, you're actually showing a respect to yourself. And so there's a
yeah,
lot of, not just God lives within us, but it's also you're respecting, you have to respect, this is you, without you knowing, you're respecting you. And you have to, like, hopefully when at the end of the movie people see the picture and then realize,
yeah.
and we all have a power to do anything we want to, we really,
No, no, no.
you
That
know
scene really broke me. I mean, I couldn't stop from the seat of the cinema because at the end, I don't want to spoil it, but what Brendan sees, what Philip sees, it really connected with, I mean, that's what where you said that you felt energy in the rain, in the clouds. I felt it with this movie. Like it reminded me when I was a little kid and I used to be more involved spiritually. I was like, I went to church, I did everything. And I
Mhm.
had a similar experience where they took me to a room and they told me, like, you want to meet God? Do you want to meet God? And when I opened the box, there was a mirror. So
Wow, that's great.
mind. So when I saw the end of this movie, I was like, I don't know, this is speaking me in another level. Like
Mhm.
as I felt a lot of things and it's a really nice message. Like I want to go when I'm going to Japan, I will go to that
Mm,
temple. I will look for it and I will go
yeah.
because it's what you said. It gives you a space to think, to analyze. I mean, thank you again for doing this movie. I think it will help people.
Oh,
People
thank you.
help
I
in
hope
the movie.
so.
They help each other, and it will help people. So I wanted to ask you, like, do you feel that cinema makes you feel better, less lonely?
I would hope so. I think there's so many different kinds of cinema, right? There's a horror too,
Yeah,
like the people
yeah, that's true.
who
Well, that
that's
makes you
definitely
see.
not my type of movies that I always like. I'm like, I love movies, but horror maybe not for me. You can give to somebody else who loves doing this. I personally, and because of that experience, because of that one-on-one conversation I was able to have back in 2011 when my first short film came out, that whole
Hmm.
experience of, I was able to touch people and in the way that they wanted to be who they are. That's a first step, right? For
Hmm.
this one, particularly movie like this, and I really hope that the people will look at whatever they take. People might just like, oh, that was funny. All right, cool. That was cool. That was awesome. I'm next. But then there's somebody like you, right? If that 10% of the people who watch this movie walk away with feeling good or feeling
Yeah,
warm, I already done my job. That's the reason
yeah,
why I
that's
made
so
that
nice.
movie. And then I
Yeah.
hope that the people, when they go back home, they will take it, they'll reflect on their lives, see what's missing, what they haven't forgotten to be grateful about.
Mm.
Those are the things that I would like to, I hope that people would at least think, or sense it,
Yeah, I
from
think they will.
that.
Everybody in the cinema was crying their
Oh,
heart
really?
out.
Oh, yeah, I love to hear that. Was it,
And
are
I
they having
went,
laughing, or are they laughing?
and yeah, I mean, there are scenes that you laugh, but at the same time, I was like, I started crying. I mean, I think that the first story is very interesting because, I
Mm,
mean, you touch a theme that is very like, I don't know, maybe people in Tokyo or in Japan don't want to get involved in because you expose in a way a reality, and not everybody
right,
wants to see a reality. Were you
right.
scared, or were you, I don't know, were you scared about doing a movie like this that will make people also to accept a reality that maybe it's strong?
Right. I wasn't scared. I wanted to, there's a part that was like that shrine scene has to be at the end. There's a lot of impulse of me inside of me. It was like, I have to, it's speaking so loudly to me. I have to do it. Right. It's almost
Mm,
like, again, it's me thinking about it, but it's almost like there's a different somebody else, the other energies that's saying, this is what the universe needs right now. So
yeah,
let's do it. um or people on the earth, I should say. And I, as a filmmaker, as an artist, obviously there's a critics who talks like
yeah, of
this,
course.
and like, of course, there's like yesterday I heard we got 1 star from this
No,
British.
that
He's so
person
bitter.
doesn't
Yeah,
understand cinema.
I know, and then like I heard about it, and he's very bitter. Apparently, he likes killing
Ah,
movie, and he likes all the white men movies. I get it. It's all
no,
good.
no.
Like, but I kind of make me want to hug this guy too. You know what I'm saying? Like, just enjoy for what it is. Don't try. Um,
Maybe he put that star because he felt something and he didn't want to face it.
right.
You never
Exactly.
know.
Exactly. You never know. You never know. And that his reaction was to give 1 star.
He didn't want to face reality and
I just
reflect on life.
Yeah, I thought it was so funny. Yeah, I was like, I want to see this guy. I want to give him a hug. you know, but it's not my thing to say. I really don't care about those things. But I felt uh scared, like am I still sometimes I think about, there's a scenes that I cut, there's a scene, the dialogues I took
Ah,
out, that it for a lot of reasons, and it worked out the way it is now. But there's some part of me that, oh, should we kept it, should we do it, was it enough, did I miss opportunity to tell more, or let, was it less? So there's a lot of those questions that goes in my mind as after we finish the movie. And then when before we making it, before we shot the movie, I think I was like all about just shoot everything that I want to shoot, like what I feel very
mm,
strong about. And then also you find movies in the editing room too, in the cutting room. And I'm a big believer that sometimes you can shape the story through editing.
yeah,
Sometimes the performances, there's some location just didn't work the way you'd hope,
yeah,
right? And you just keep working, and then you find a voice, right? And then those are things that I also um I like to embrace, and then I'm not afraid to say I took a couple scenes out, and the reason why is
yeah,
this, right? But I think scary, going back to your actual question, scary, but that I was scared. Not really. I thought that I knew that the people who gets it, people who feel something, not gets it, people who appreciate this movie, it's gonna love it. And they're gonna take
yeah,
away something very much deeper.
yeah,
So I was just focusing on that, if that makes sense.
yeah. I
Yeah.
felt that it was really powerful, and also to be a woman until this story. I mean, you have
Yeah.
to have the guts. I was
Yeah.
like, I left the cinema thinking about that, and with all my family, that like how brave, and yeah, I mean, we need movies
Yeah.
more like this. And
Yeah.
was any particular scene that you enjoyed the most filming, or what was the story that you felt like was your favorite?
Okay. Well, I always like the rental family guys coming in, trying to rescue, trying to pretend to be
Yeah, to rest
yeah,
Philip, yeah,
like the
funny.
lawyer and then the police officer.
Yeah.
I always love that scene very much. I always like the funeral scene, the very first one.
Ah, yeah.
Yeah, that was beautiful. I loved the last funeral too, but it was a
Oh,
very time crunchy day
oh,
because we shot for 3 hours and then it start raining. So we have to reshoot
oh,
everything from the top
no.
because we started from outside. And
Was heartbreaking.
that was like, it
No.
was like we're like, oh my God, we have no time. Oh, let's go, let's go, let's go. But we achieved, and I think that's something again, the rain we did not expect, but rain
Yeah.
worked perfect. It was so beautiful. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be a full-on cherry blossom day, and there was no
Ah,
cherry blossom. And we kept the cherry blossom was able to come at the end when he meets with the girl, and there's always production wise, there's always an issue, there's always challenge because
yeah, I imagine.
yeah, we're chasing cherry blossom too for this one because
Oh,
we had a really cold spring and they were like
oh,
3 weeks late. So we kept switching the schedule.
oh my
I
God.
was always like,
Well, that happens. It's part of the
yeah,
job.
that was hard. I remember like chasing cherry blossom because you have to keep. I felt bad for the assistant directors because they have to keep changing it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
haven't met the cherry blossoms yet. I never
Oh,
went to
okay.
Japan with cherries. I need to go.
Someday
You
you
made
should do that.
me, you made me want to go again to the Tokyo Border Lab.
Oh
To
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah, Team Lab,
Yeah, I
yeah.
went. Yeah, I
It's
went
fun,
a couple
huh?
of years ago, and when I
Okay.
saw it in the movie, I was like, I need to go back there.
Yeah, it's
And
so
we're
much
going.
fun.
So thanks to
It's
you.
so much fun. Yeah, I love it.
Um, my my last question is, why do you think people should go to the movies here in Argentina and watch, of course, Rental Family?
I think because it's a collective experience. If you it's watching a movie at home alone, it's just so it's not expensive. You're just watching it. But when you go to cinema, you laugh, you cry, you feel the energy, how everybody's reacting. It's like almost like watching a theater,
Yeah,
because I hope that this, and then I think cinemas like this, and then also obviously big action movies and give you the spectacular of it. And this is not a big action movie whatsoever, but you're able to share this human connection with people that you don't even spend time with otherwise. I think that's
yeah,
why I would always suggest people to go back to cinema because you just have this experience of sharing the moment with complete strangers, and sometimes you can strike a conversation, right? Like a lot of people who my friends who went and they're like, yeah, we once we finish, and a couple people who went a couple or alone, and then some people would say like, I just started talking to people like who was sitting next to me and she came by herself and we had this beautiful conversation about life. That will never happen unless you're in a theater, you
yeah.
know
And it's a
so
movie that makes you think and you
yeah.
enjoy, you feel everything.
Yeah, and then don't be afraid to talk after. Have a conversation,
That's
and
true.
share your thoughts if you like, you know.
I
That's
I
a
love
great
it. Yeah,
reason.
I support
Yeah.
cinema. I love cinemas. I work for movie. I mean, this interview is coming out in Showcase, that is a chain. I don't know if you're familiar. I also work for IMAX. I think
Uh-huh.
it
Yeah.
new IMAX. But thank you so much for your time. I
Yes,
mean,
of
it really
course.
got emotional at some point because I feel and think a lot about these things, and the way you spoke it, I don't know, it really felt like something I would say. So thank you so much
Cool.
for your time, and I love this movie and for this interview. Like, I love doing interviews, and I love doing interviews about movies that I really like and they feel different. So thank you so
Mm.
much.
No, of course. Thank you. Well, good luck to you, Del. I'll see you next time around.
Yes, I